Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name's Dave Abkary and I am a comedian out of Fresno, California, and this is a podcast where I sit down with my fellow funny friends, my fellow comedians, and we talk about dads. Hi. Oh man, if this is your first time listening, welcome. But there are some of you listening right now. This is your 20th time listening. Because this is episode 20. Yeah! Woo! So when the audience just turns into like somebody wheezing because it's so smoky. Everything is on fire around here. Oh man. There's so much. It looks like we get a lot of fog in the winter. And it's so like you could almost have a foggy day schedule. That's something that's big around here. If you're not from Fresno and you don't know, we have foggy day schedules where if it's too foggy, school starts late. And it was great when you were a kid. Like school wouldn't start until 11 or 12. And it was like a short day and it was awesome. That's sort of our version of like a snow day. And sometimes it would get so foggy and it wouldn't clear up that school would get canceled altogether. They were like, it's too foggy. We can't have school today. And we were like, yeah, that's awesome. That was great. And, we would turn on the PBS channel. PBS is where they had all the foggy day schedule listings, a little ticker tape going by. You're hoping to see your school, see what plan it is, plan A. All running underneath Mr. Rogers' face. Oh, man, those are some happy memories. Anyway, that's how smoky it is. It's so smoky out here. It looks like because they had different plans. Plan A meant school would start 2 hours later, and then Plan B was 3 hours later, and then if you got to Plan C, I think that was canceled, or maybe that was Plan D. Maybe Plan D was the cancellation of school. Anyway, it's so smoky, it looks like school would be canceled. Like, it's wild. You just Google it. And then I just read they Yosemite National Park is shut down right now. It's shut down indefinitely because they're not sure how long it's going to take to put out those fires. You can't even see anything in that park right now. It's nuts. I saw somebody posted a picture of it. You can't see Half Dome or any of that. Oh, man, I just found myself... Like this weekend, I kept doing it. I couldn't help myself. I was like riding in the car with my daughter. We were driving around to figure out where we were going, and I just kept apologizing to her. I was like, Abby, I'm so sorry. Like, it was not like this when I was a kid. I mean, we used to be able to play outside, during summer break. Summer break for her right now, and there's just whole days where it's just too smoky there. Quality's too bad for her to go outside. I don't want her to go outside. And that sucks. Kind of robbing kids of their childhood in a lot of ways. Ugh. I don't know if I've shared this. Oh man, a while back she was like, she started like telling me this. It was like just a little anecdote, just a little kid story about like a joke her friend told her while they were doing active shooter lockdown drills. And she was just like nonchalant about the fact that she has to go through, she's in kindergarten, she has to go through active shooter lockdown drills like we used to do fire drills. It's wild, man. It's a weird time to be a kid. I feel like we're too hard on kids, man. I don't know. It's hard for a kid to even be a kid. It just goes against everything that Chuck E. Cheese stood for. Oh, well. Just ranting now. I do that, and the reason I've spent the last 72 hours with my guest today, Tom Goss. He is our guest, and he just brings out the ranty nature in me. Tom and I love it because we both have like really wacky ideas about stuff, and we love each other's wacky ideas. And so it was just 72 hours of Tom and I just unhinged with each other, like bearing our souls to each other with all of our dumb theories and conspiracies about everything, because it was just him and I, nobody around to judge us, and we could just go down all the weird rabbit holes. And we do it a little bit on this episode too, because sometimes we get I get a little out there for my friends, and I know he gets a little out there for his friends, but when it's just Tom and I, oh, it gets weird. And so Tom and I, we had a lot of fun hanging out. And then he headlined. He was headlining this week our 1 year anniversary of our Just the Tips series of shows. 1 year running those, and that was fun. It was a wild show. That was just last night, and it was a long show. It was, I mean, intentionally so. We brought up all of our favorite local comedians. We had a few out of town comedians come out. I mean, Tom headlined it, but we also had like Darren Carter came out. He's originally from Fresno, and so it was a great night. I mean, we normally try to run like a tight hour and a half, 2 hour show, because there's a finite amount of serotonin in your skull. You can only laugh so much, and people tend to check out a little after that hour and a half, 2 hour mark. And mind you, we did a 4 hour show. I can't even tell you how many comedians we had go up last night. I mean, 20, 30 comedians. It was nuts. And the audience was into it, but it was way outside of our normal, how we normally run a show. But we packed it out. It was full. It was 100 and some odd people in the room, which really fills it up. And it was a good time. And I'm glad Tom was here to do that. And we talk a little bit about, we talk about it at a few points throughout this episode, but definitely check out Tom's podcast, Mean Boys. Tom and Keith Carey and Connor McSpadden are some of the funniest people I know, and they have a really funny podcast, so you guys should really listen to that. So let's get into it, huh, guys? Let's jump into this week's episode with Tom Goss. Are they? Yeah, these MXLs. I've used these. I used to use these a lot when I was recording music, and they're solid. They're like kind of like mid-grade, most podcasts use those big like those black ones you see like on the Joe Rogan and podcast and stuff. But
these are for sure less plastic
than the ones you use on Mean Boys. That's cool, man. Yeah, dude, I started recording you a little bit ago. I just try to just come in hot.
Yeah,
that's good, man.
This is me being hot.
You're Tom Goss.
I am most of the time. Yeah, that's me.
You had a great set tonight, man.
Oh, thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
Your aunt was there.
Yeah, my aunt was there. It's weird. Yeah, it was weird doing sets in front of family, but
you were a little nervous about it beforehand, but
a little bit, yeah. Well, I don't know. I never understand what people retain.
Yeah,
just based off of every interaction after my set, like, oh, you missed everything I was saying in that joke.
That's true. I do. I've kind of like I used to do like Super Mario jokes, but looking like Super Mario, and they would always hit really hard, but that was the thing. Everybody was like, "Hey, Super Mario!"
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't want to be like the hacky guy that makes Super Mario jokes. So I've just sort of removed myself from telling those jokes, even though they hit hard. But whatever.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the Super Mario reference.
I guess not. And part of, I mean, I don't know if you've experienced this as a comic, but a lot of times I try to go up at the beginning of the sets and just try to say everything that I think the audience is thinking. And just kind of like clear the table. And in my mind, I feel like it makes it more receptive to the weirder stuff that I really want to say.
Yeah, you know? I try to. A lot of the times, I do two different things. I either open that way and try to do, you know, maybe not exactly that, but try to be like friendly up top, or I'm like, okay, I'm going to open with a choke fuck joke. And I'm either gonna murder or I'm gonna bomb. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, those are the two. I either try to get them a little warmed up, or I'm like, all right, we're going to fisting, and if you don't like it, well then that's
good. And now you came up out of the OC scene. Right? Yeah. I've actually had a few of you guys like on the show. I've had Ramsey kind of came up in that scene. Yeah. Matt Cole. Katie French, I think, actually initially started in OC.
Yep, she did.
You guys are sort of and then like you have like Nicole Buchanan, who is just killed it on Roast Battle. What is it about that? Is it just your time? Is that what it is? Is that like,
I don't know, maybe I don't know. For me, I always like the theory that none of us really belong there, so we all ended up doing comedy. It's not a great place to be if you want to do something artistic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't. I don't feel. I mean, there are parts of OC, but I don't think it's a. I mean, a lot of like punk music and shit came from there because there's a lot of wealth. There's a lot of suburbs. There's a lot of fucking snootiness.
Yeah,
and I think that breeds some people that kids that go, fuck this. I want the opposite.
Well, yeah, and it seems like, I mean, obviously you guys are all comedians, but because you're on the Mean Boys podcast, it seems like you guys bring a lot of the punk rock to the comedy, that like to the
that's a huge compliment. Yeah.
Because I mean, you guys are outside of a lot of the conventional comedy norms in a lot of ways, but you're also like finding your voice, but you've also kind of got like a fuck you element to it too. And I just think it's really cool the way you guys have kind of like embraced the OC roots in that. There's a lot of punk rock that comes out of here, a lot of music that comes out of here, and even though we're comedians, we're still you guys almost celebrate it in a way, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy. I don't like. Yeah, I mean that kind of world is I feel like if you're born into kind of like a counterculture, then I feel like you're not gonna crave it, and if you're gonna crave structure, because that's what you can evolve into, and if you're born into an area with a lot of structure, you're going to go, oh, this is fucking stupid. Yeah. I want to create some counterculture. I think it just kind of depends on, and there's exceptions for that. And I'm also speaking out of my ass on this. I can't.
Sure, nobody's going to hold you to any of these.
Yeah. But I think there's definitely some. Yeah. I really do believe there's got to be some aspect of, there's a lot of bullshit around us. Let's not be a part of it. And I think that's what creates that kind of that. And we were all, my God, when I first started the OC scene, we were the meanest people.
Hey, I've heard you guys talk about that. You guys just picked on each other.
Oh yeah, it was there was no politeness for politeness sake. It was. There was no two-face. Everyone knew what face you wore. It was fucking rude, And it's very different now. It's a lot, there's a lot of very chill potheads out there.
Is that is that one of those scenes that has kind of like ebbed and flowed over the years, or has it always been, or is it new? Like, is comedy in OC like a newer thing? Or?
I don't think so. I think the OC scene. I mean, I'm down there occasionally. I was down there for a bit. It's what it is it you age out quickly because LA's right there.
Right.
And so so a lot of but the older, I think I think when I started the scene, the scene had only been around for like 7 years or something like that, and there was only just a couple mics. And
and Nick Petrillo's also been on the show too.
Nick, another, and he was like there was like the four horsemen of the guys who really like created the scene. And then Evan like expanded it a bunch, and guys like Matt, and But no, it wasn't, and I wasn't there. I wasn't there from the very beginning at all. But yeah.
And what was like? What was your? I mean, what was your moment where you decided to like become a comedian? I mean, is it a thing you always grew up wanting to be? Or?
Yeah, no. I mean, when I was 14, I had my first set when I was 14.
No shit.
Yeah, at a Buddhist talent show.
That's right. I've heard you mention that before. How funny. What was that like?
I killed it. I was a complete hack. I found a way to both hack Robin Williams and Dave Chappelle in the same set in the same 5 minutes, which is, how similar they are, but it went well. And then I was like, I'm a comedian, even though I only got up once or twice a year. So I don't count any of that time through my teens where I'd go up at a coffee shop or something once or twice a year. I only, but yeah, and then eventually, I was doing a little bit of theater stuff and whatnot, but I always wanted to be a comedian. And I also got frustrated with, acting and writing, because when I'd write, I'd be like, the actor's going to fuck it up. And then when I'd act, I'd be like, the director's fucking it up. And I was like, maybe I'm a little bit of a control freak. Maybe, I've always wanted to be a comedian. I always, there was part of me that was like, that's what I want to do, and yeah, and then I started diving in hard.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that's one of the hardest aspects of moving from stand-up comedy to acting for a lot of comedians. Is like you're not
in control.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like because when you're on stage, you have full spectrum control.
You're writing and acting at the same time when you're doing stand-up,
right?
And then if any other medium, even if you're a director, you don't have as much control as stand-up, because the actors still make decisions. You know what I mean? You're just you're painting it, but you don't get to control the minutia. Everything that happens on stage is good or bad. It's your fault. You know what I mean?
And you can take ownership of it one way or the other.
Yeah. It's so and that. So I definitely think that control aspect of like, all right, if I'm bad at this, it's all me. It doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter. That was the other thing. Like when I was acting, I was like, they want me to be the fat goofy guy like I am in real life, and I don't like that. I wanted to be so and that. But I always wanted to be a comedian, When I was a kid, my dad, he was always loved comedy, and he like when George Carlin, I kept wanting to call him Dan Carlin.
Dan Carlin has got a great podcast.
Yeah. But when George Carlin died, my dad like sat me down and we're watching a bunch of, we watched a bunch of Carlin, and on road trips we'd listen to different comedians, and I always wanted to do it. Since I was a little kid, but I couldn't drive, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, and so it was always something I wanted to do.
And you're kind of I use the term not to sound hacky in saying it, but like you're kind of a bit of like a Renaissance man in your different interests, because I've known you for a while, but like you've got these different hats that you're able to wear very effectively. Like, I mean, you're a sports guy. Like, you can talk endlessly about hockey and you played football too, didn't you?
Yeah. I played more hockey. Hockey was the biggest sport, the one I was always most into.
Right, and then there's the theater element, and and then there's the philosophical element. I've heard. I mean, we've had very deep conversations about weird bullshit.
Yeah, we're talking about alien life earlier today, and the different possibilities, and you rattle off a bunch of theories. And I nodded and acted like I knew it. For sure, I know the Bork theory.
And
all those scientific, they just sound like Swedish chef words to me. Probably because that's where the smart people are.
I mean,
it's in fucking Europe.
and so like, I mean, growing up, was that, and that you have all these different interests that are sort of compartmentalized, but sort of bleed into each other. But I mean, is that a result of like how you were raised? Were your parents kind of like into a lot of different stuff too, or how did that come about for you?
I don't know if my parents were into a bunch of I don't. I mean, maybe a little bit. I mean, I have a very, the philosophy and all that. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely my mom and dad. I was raised Buddhist. I'm not really anymore, but I was raised Buddhist.
Yeah.
And, that definitely had something to do with it because I was Buddhist, and I always seemed like we moved to very Christian areas. I mean, we lived here when I was
oh right, you lived here in Fresno.
It was probably even more religious then than it was, Visalia, San Diego was not as strict. Vegas is everyone's sober and into and where they live in Orange County is right by Saddleback Church, which is a fucking the spiritual Walmart is right there.
Right.
And so explaining as a little kid, explaining this, that I was Buddhist, and then some people would pick on me, and some people would older adults, they'd challenge my beliefs. And then so I had to kind of learn from a young age how to explain it and how to defend it and how to for lack of a better term, point out flaws in their philosophy the same way they were in mine, in a way that wasn't too upsetting to them, and so I think being of a different religious upbringing around a lot of ignorant people forced me to really kind of think about things and be able to defend that. So that definitely was
that makes sense.
Was my parents,
and I mean, at any point did you ever just like throw your arms up like, God, I wish we were just Christians?
No. I mean, I also got bullied a lot, so I there was a lot of fuck you energy I had as a little kid. Towards even today when people ask me, have you heard of the good word of Jesus? I'm like, who the fuck hasn't heard of Jesus at this point? Who is this for? I get mad at people. Right. Who try to convert people on the street just because I think that's like, how dare you? You're on this. You just think you know better than people. They have the internet. They have options. This is to me, I view that as a form of entitlement and preying on weak people who are looking for anything. Yeah. Not weak in general, but like vulnerable people. Yeah. It's always vulnerable people who fall into Scientology and not every. I also want to make it clear, I'm not saying every form of Christianity is that way or whatever, but yeah, you're preying on vulnerable people. Yeah, I mean, offering them hope when you really have. If you had hope, you probably wouldn't be on the corner hoping for, you know what I mean? It
is. There's almost a predatory nature to some of it. Like,
I think there's a very predatory nature. I mean, in my opinion,
I've had this wax. I love hanging out with you because I can throw you all my wacky theories and you don't laugh.
No, and I enjoy them.
But I've always had this working because there's a lot of. There are a lot of Hispanic Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, there's a lot of people, especially in this area, that are both Mexican and Jehovah's Witness.
Sure.
And which to me always seemed a little bit odd because Mexico,
the whole skin thing and Jehovah's Witness.
There's that, and like Mexico is a very strong Catholic country, and so it's like, why is it that they come over and then suddenly they're magically converted to like Jehovah's Witnesses? And I think it's that, like what we were talking about before.
I 100% think it's that. Yeah.
It's like if you're like brand new to this country, and you're just you're kind of trying to like
struggling.
You're trying to keep your head down, and then somebody knocks on your door and is like, "Hey, have you heard the good word? Hey, why don't you come to my church? Hey," like suddenly,
and they're also friendly, and that is one thing I will give is they do get points for being
they're
kind to people. even although I mean I think the ulterior motives nullify it a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, that's exactly. I agree with you.
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like they almost take advantage of the fact that these people are like new to the country and isolated and may not have strong roots. And even though they were probably Catholic in Mexico,
right.
It's like, well, the Catholic Church didn't exactly come to their door and knock on it and be like, hey, how you doing? It was this other group. And so I could see how it would be very easy for people brand new to the United States to like fall into that religion because they're right there on the door.
Yeah,
you know?
No, it makes sense, and you know, and then even with all the negative aspects I've given to it, it does give them a place to be where they are accepted, and that is a good thing. It's not all bad.
It's not all bad. There are a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of communal aspects to church. Like I wish there were almost like there's not like any kind of an excuse to have like a secular church, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Because like, I mean, there are nice things. Like, like my mom's real involved with the Presbyterian church. And like, if somebody dies that's in like even loosely affiliated with the church, like they're like worker bees, man. Like they all like swarm on the person affected. How you doing? Here's some food. We have food for you.
And
like,
I think that's great.
Yeah. And that's just that's an element of secular life that is missing that like communal element, you know? And so, yeah, it's stuff like that makes me not feel like religion is all bad, but obviously there are some problematic elements to all of it, you know?
Yeah. And there's some, there are good qualities to it. I don't buy into it for a variety of reasons. I mean, the biggest one is just I don't think it's true. I don't think it's real. I think, you know, the reason it exists is for the community, and the reason it exists is for, you know, it's just that's the thing, is groups become organisms. They have no control over it. There's money that funnels into it. That's why it's there. I don't think there's as many people who really deep down, and I might be completely wrong about this. I don't think as many people truly believe in God in those churches as they say they do, and but I also don't think there's anything wrong. You know, if you believe in something and it gives you hope, I don't think that's a bad thing either.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, as long as you're not forcing it on other people.
That's my thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing. I mean, it does influence. I mean, whether you want it to or not, it will influence your life in that. That's a voting block, you know, and you know, I mean, they may be influenced. They may influence your life and how they vote, you know, and the way things policy wise. So I mean, it's just a weird, like, I go back and forth on it all the time too. Whether like not necessarily like I don't really. I'm kind of like you in that I don't believe in a higher power, but I do go back and forth on whether it's a net good or a net positive or a net, you know, is it bad, you know?
I think the people having spirituality in their lives, I think that's the net positive. I think it organized is a complete negative. That's just my opinion. I'm sure there are people who are hearing this going, what the fuck did he say?
Yeah, who the fuck are these guys?
You know,
I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole with you, but thanks for going down it with me.
Yeah. No, I'm always down to dig down rabbit holes.
I was going to ask you, one thing I wanted to ask you too, because I'm always, I mean, I was actually a fan of your podcast before I really started doing comedy. And so like,
oh, really? I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah. I was, and so it was neat when I like got to meet like you and Keith and Connor. I was you know, and so I mean, just a question about like Mean Boys lore, like how did, and by the way, the listeners, the Mean Boys podcast is one of my personal favorite podcasts. Listen to it if you don't already.
Nice, thank you.
How did you fall in with Keith and Connor? How did that relationship come about?
It was
Keith and Connor being the other hosts of the Mean Boys podcast.
Yeah, it was separate. It wasn't us all, you know, we didn't all just like stumble into each other at the same time. I met Keith doing a show at a thrift store. We were both on the show, and Keith just thought it was real funny, and then we were friendly from there. And, you know, and then he invited, I think, you know, we like didn't really talk, but I remember he invited me to a birthday shindig, and I was like, I went, and he actually told me later, like, oh, I guess maybe I'm becoming friends with Tom, and that was a big thing, you know. And then Connor was Connor. I refused to talk to Connor for a while.
Really?
Because Connor, one time. Connor was going through some shit at the time, and like I saw him, one guy try to like give him a high five and be super buddy with him, and Connor did not know him that well, so Connor did one of that too cool things, and the guy just like looked like he just slumped over so defeated. I'm like, I don't want him to do that to me.
Oh,
and then we were all carpooling to San Diego. Me and some other comics. Opie, I think, was in the car.
I've met Opie once briefly.
He's really funny. I think Damian Holmes, he's in New York now, but really funny guy. Scott Blacks, he's in LA. And we're driving to San Diego, and I don't say much. I'm hosting the show, and I was doing okay, and then I used to have a 5-minute story about a time that thought I had testicular cancer. Turned out to be blue balls. It's still daylight outside, and I'm trying to do this
people
long.
Are not going with it.
There's no bail point in the story. It's just I'm gonna not. So I finished the story, and the part where everyone's supposed to laugh, it just bombed so hard. I see Damien and Opie running in circles when people are laughing real hard, and then high-fiving without even looking at each other, like some sort of Jordan Pippen alley-oop. Then the whole show, I'm just bombing. And I bring up Connor. Connor, I think, was headlining, and I go, trying to bring the energy up. Like, you guys give it up for the Madhouse, and they go, yeah, give it up for San Diego, and they clap a little louder. I go, give it up for the San Diego Chargers, and they lose their shit. I go, and I got the energy up. I did my job, and just part of me was like, "That's not true. You hate." I hate the Chargers. I don't know why I said that. You guys have terrible fans. I hate your fan base.
You killed it immediately.
Yeah, and they start booing me, and now I'm out of time. I have no way to bring them up. So I go, guys, give it up for your headliner, Connor I bring him up to booze. And Connor thought it was hilarious. So the next time I saw him, he came up to me, he was like, let's be friends.
Oh, that's funny.
And I thought maybe he was fucking with me or something. I'm always paranoid.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay. And then he was being 100% genuine, and we've been friends.
Yeah.
Since then, we've gotten closer since then, obviously.
Because Connor, when he was younger, had a notorious mean streak, right?
He did. He's much sweeter now.
Did you ever see that get him in trouble, or has he always managed to kind of like get away with it?
I told Connor like just a couple weeks ago. I forgot what it was. Connor, if I did half the shit you did, I would have gotten shot 7 years ago. I don't know how he does it. Because even just like we worked together, part-time job registering people to vote. I'm like, hello, would you like to register to vote? I get nothing, and Connor like, hey, douchebag, you want to be a patriot, or you want to just walk away like a little fucking, I don't know what it's, we like neg people and like, oh, I guess I should be voting, and like, how do you do that?
That's so funny. So he never got like punched in the jaw or anything, like you never saw any like physical altercation.
No, I have, and I don't do any of that shit.
So
yeah,
that's great.
But that's how I met. That's how the two different stories.
How funny, yeah. And so this is a podcast where we talk about dads.
Okay.
Tom Goss, you got a dad.
Yeah.
And
Connor's my dad. No,
Connor McSpadden is my father.
Yeah.
And I always kind of like the way I like to get into it, the dad portion of the show is I usually just have you kind of like walk me through it. And so where, I mean, did your dad grow up in Orange County or Visalia? I know you've got roots different places.
Yeah. I don't really have, I mean, that's where my parents live in Orange County now. Besides that, I don't have any. I reject Orange County as a place, except for the comedy scene. I genuinely dislike Orange County. The only thing I'm proud of are the comics that have come out of that scene.
You get some killers, and it's really like that's for whatever reason. I think it's just a weird combination of. I'm totally going off topic, but I think it's a weird combination of, like you were saying, you guys all started off really mean.
Oh, we were so mean.
And then you guys all kind of like developed and matured right when like Roast Battle hit. and it seems like
it kind of helped purge a lot of people's meanness.
Yeah, and it just seemed like it was like the perfect, like, you know, like the perfect. It was the right people in the right place at the right time, you know, and it just seems like it just springboarded so many of you guys in a good way, you know.
Well, it gave you chops because if you weren't being funny on stage, they'd fucking your friends would boo you. They'd fucking heckle you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your own friends.
Yeah. You'll be in the middle of it. What the fuck are you talking about? You know, like, so it definitely like it had like it had an aggressive energy down there, not everywhere, but like most of the time. And then most of the time you were performing for each other because it wasn't a big scene back then. Now there's rooms out there where you get full fucking crowds.
Yeah.
But back then it was mostly performing for each other, so we just fucking, you know.
Yeah. And so I guess I'll try to. I guess I'll be a good host and circle it back around, even though I derailed my own show. But so where did your dad grow up?
My dad grew up in this area. I think he lived in like Fresno, Clovis. I think he lived in like near Shaver for a while.
Oh, yeah. It's a great area.
It was all in this area. This is, you know, my dad went to Bullard High School.
Oh no shit. Yeah.
Just couple blocks from Grog's.
Yeah. It's real close to there. And so that being it, like, is that where your family was? I mean, does that go back way, or were they did they immigrate to the Central Valley at some point, or do you know how far back your Central Valley roots go?
I know I have. I know there was one. They came out like during the gold rush. I know
way back then.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you like go through. I was just curious if like your dad grew up similar to you, where he bounced around a lot.
No. Oh yeah, you mean sorry, I misinterpreted the question. Yeah, no, he. I think he might have moved around, but it was all in this area.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
And what was he like growing up? Do you have any idea what his like childhood was like? Was he like the cool kid, or was he the I don't know, the quiet goth kid in the corner?
It's always interesting because he doesn't tell many stories of me. A lot of times he's telling stories about his childhood from other people. I mean, he had a bunch of siblings.
Did he?
Yeah, he had my Aunt Janie.
Who I met. Is that the one I met tonight?
That's the one you met.
She was so cool.
Yeah, she's very sweet. I love all my uncles and aunts. And then my Uncle John, and then I don't know if I should be saying their names. Yeah, and then another aunt, and then another uncle who's the youngest. Mm-hmm. I know the youngest uncle was the biggest troublemaker.
Where does your dad fall on? Was he the oldest?
I think he's in the middle.
Got it.
The aunt you met tonight's the oldest, and then also and then my another, and then I have another aunt. I think there was 5 in their family, or God, I'd have to. I'm trying not to hang up. But yeah, the point is it was a pretty big family, and my dad wasn't really a troublemaker. He wasn't really the parent. I think I get the vibe he was a pretty responsible kid. He played sports.
That was my next question. Is that kind of where that developed? What was he playing growing up?
He played football, and he's not even a huge fan of football anymore. Like, he doesn't watch the NFL. You know, he doesn't really watch sports. He'd come out to our games, lacrosse. My sister played lacrosse, football, hockey. My little brother played football.
Is lacrosse? I mean, I don't know that any lacrosse happens around here. Is that more of like a Southern California thing? Or?
So it's an East Coast thing.
Well, I knew that part, but I didn't know that like it was played a whole lot on the West Coast.
It's played in Northern California too.
Is it?
Maybe it just hasn't caught on the Central Valley.
I guess we're just behind.
It's a great game. It should catch on here. It's the only real American sport, because baseball was taken from cricket.
Oh no shit.
Football was taken from rugby.
Oh,
and they adjusted some of the rules. Lacrosse was was actually played by the Native American tribes.
No shit.
Yeah,
it looks so hard. It looks so hard to catch that tiny ball on a stick.
It's practice. It takes very definitely. You have to be very coordinated to play it. But yeah, it's a great game. But yeah, no, my dad, he never pushed sports on us. I loved sports.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was because my dad, he never pushed it on us. My mom never pushed it on us, but all of us played sports.
Yeah.
But yeah, he played football throughout until like senior year of high school, and he's told me a bunch of stories about how his coach was just a fucking nightmare person. And he didn't want to play he didn't want to play for him anymore because
he ruined it for him.
Just fucking, he'd be he had no problem. I mean, it was a different time, and when coaches would hit the players and shit.
Yeah, and, right.
They were more like drill sergeants, and it was just like, fuck this.
I'm done.
Yeah, I don't want to play. Senior year, he quit.
Was he like one of the cool like stoner kids, or did he not? Was he kind of a straight arrow? For the most part?
I don't think. It's always hard. He's not secretive, but I never get like a full. I don't think he was a stoner at that point. I think he smoked weed a little later. I think he might have drank.
Oh yeah,
underage drank a little bit.
Sure. But it sounds like for the most part he was just kind of a cool, chill guy.
Yeah, he was chill. He was there. Him and his brothers would get into trouble. He got his first rifle at like 8. In my or something like that. It was a very different area around here back then. It was pretty empty. I think he pointed out the area where they used to live, and it's still empty. So that tells you how out of the way, But yeah, he was a quiet. I mean, he had his brothers, and he tells stories about that and how I guess they used to have. I always thought this story was funny, but him and his older brother, and they were. I think they're pretty close in age, but they do this thing where they would lie in the middle of the street with ketchup all over their chest.
Oh, jeez.
And then they get like tape or something or whatever to make it look like or sound like they the car hit something, and they'd lay in the street and make it look like they got hit by the car with ketchup. They'd get out of the car and they'd freak out and they'd run away. And they loved doing it. Yeah. And then my younger uncle, he was always kind of like the tag along from the stories I hear, and I guess he tried to do it by himself once. And they hear a knocking on the door, and it's the person with the car, and they're holding. He didn't run away. He just sat there. He just sat there, and they were like, "Oh, you're not dead. That's ketchup."
That's funny.
And then he got it. Yeah, he got into trouble because he didn't run away.
Yeah. That's funny. And so, like, your dad, he goes to high school, graduates high school. Where does he go from there? Like,
he went to Fresno City College.
Oh, did he? So he stuck around.
He went there for a little bit. Yeah.
At what point does he decide to like disembark from Fresno and kind of?
Not until after I was born.
Oh, really? It was.
Yeah, so he stayed in the area.
And so did he met your mom here too? Then is that?
Yeah, my mom. The Sara Lee factory, or no, the Kraft factory.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah. So my mom worked there when they met.
That's a big facility. My last job, we used to have to deliver the uniforms there.
Right.
It's crazy. It's an enormous.
I've never been there, but that's where my mom worked.
You're not missing anything. Like, it's so intense, like, because they make it's the Kraft facility, but like they make like Capri Suns there.
Okay.
I mean, and so it's like you walk in and it's just like the most, like, you know, like when you smell like the Kool-Aid packet, like it's got that really intense like Kool-Aid flavor.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's what all of it smells like everywhere.
Oh,
it's just,
wow.
yeah, and it's really harsh, and you kind of just get like sick of it. You're
I mean,
like,
I'll take that over cheese. Like, I don't want to walk into a warehouse that smells like old mozzarella. But,
totally. Yeah.
But yeah, that's I didn't know that. I don't know if that was how it was when she worked there.
Sure, yeah, who knows? I mean, many years ago, yeah, who knows what they were making there? And so, at what point for your dad and maybe your mom at this point too, but at what point did the Buddhism come into play? Like, how did he convert to that? Because I mean, I assume he wasn't raised Buddhist.
No, he was raised Christian. I don't know what kind of Christian, but yeah, I guess he tells me when he was around 8. He goes, yeah, he just like was like, I think this is bullshit. And then his parents would try to take him to church, and he'd be like, no, I don't want to go. And so as soon as he could stop going, he stopped going. He didn't believe in God, and he thought that it was dumb. And then when he was a teenager, I think it was like 16 or something like that, maybe 18. He heard about it and got really into it.
Really?
Yeah, and then he got really into it, and his parents were really upset.
Yeah.
It was a different time then, and even people today would get upset when their kids are in a different religion.
About what year-ish would this be? Just to get I'm just curious about like how old is your dad?
Born in 1952.
Oh wow, your dad's about my dad's age.
Yeah.
So if you're talking like he gets into it in his like, how old was he when he?
I think he was 18, so it'd be in 1970.
Yeah, so that's a way different time.
Yeah.
Like especially around here. Like I mean,
this area is already 20 years behind the times.
right. And like I mean, if he was like if he was living in San Francisco, he's like, I'm going to become a Buddhist.
Right.
It would have been nothing. But like around here during the 70s, that would have been a very drastic.
And my grandpa used to sell insurance to I was telling you this earlier. He used to sell insurance to the Chico's people.
Yeah. Right.
And they'd give him a big paper bag of cash, and they'd hand it to. They would never write a check or anything.
Yeah, right.
But so it was so they kind of freaked out apparently about that a little bit. And he didn't really care, you know. And I think that was around the same time I was going to Fresno City College, and he was doing it for art. See, he played football and stuff. He was like, I'd rather be making art. My dad, this is one of my favorite. My dad always like, it sounds like he was at school. He didn't really care about school. He didn't care about academics. I guess when he was going into high school, he had to take a placement test. I take this test, and they give him this test, and I go, okay, it doesn't affect your grade. Just do as best you can on the test. My dad goes, well, it doesn't affect my grade. I go, yeah. Okay, so why should I try to do well on the test? And I'm like, just do well on the test. My dad goes, fuck that. And he just gets the pencil and then draws in every single dot on the Scantron. Every single one. He fills it up and then just hands it in. And that was the placement test. So the next year he goes to the high school, and all the kids are fucking idiots and dysfunctional and shit. And then that's when he asked, like, what was on that? Because he thought he was being funny, just filling out, which also sounds like something I do. And but he did that. And then, he went to Fresno City College trying to do art, and I guess it was going okay. And my grandpa was helping out a little bit. And then once my grandpa found out that my dad was doing it for art, he pulled any money he was helping out with it. Oh. My dad still makes art. Does
he really?
Yeah, he still sells it.
What's his medium? Like, what is he?
He sculpts, he paints, he pastels, he does everything. Yeah. I'll show you.
Yeah, I'd be down to see that. Is that and does he have a day job, or is he?
He did. I mean, that's so yeah. He was a chef. He worked since he was like I want to say like 12, but that can't be right because of the child labor laws. Couldn't have been.
I mean, it was also the 50s or 60s too.
Yeah, it might have been, but it was real young. He started working. He worked at like a soda fountain place up by the lake. Huntington or Shade.
Yeah,
or
probably during
like
like tourist season and stuff.
And he did that, and then he worked in restaurants. He worked at a Denny's. Mm-hmm. And then he worked at a restaurant called Turtles, which I don't know if it's still around here, but I guess it was a very fancy restaurant.
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar, but I mean, it might have gone out of business many years ago or something.
Yeah, but he's an amazing cook. He's a very good,
Gotcha.
And he'll take leftovers and stuff, and he'll make something amazing out of it. It's like it's completely clashing food.
Sure.
But he just, he looks at it and he goes, he looks at leftovers like, oh, I can just make fucking anything. It feels like you can make anything out of anything.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and he developed that, and then he started working construction just because I think it was, I forgot why he told me. He enjoyed working in the restaurant, but I think he was just like, yeah, unless you have a master's degree or you go to culinary school. Yeah, culinary school, not master's degree. I'm not very deep into the education. But yeah, unless you have a degree from culinary school, you never make any real money. You do all the work, you learn all but you never really make any real money unless you went to culinary school and it's your restaurant and you're the head chef.
Sure.
So he started doing construction. And I guess the first promotion he got, and I'm sure I'm butchering some of these stories, but the first promotion he got, I guess the guy he worked for was just a psycho, and he just, fucking just really abusive to his employees, and was cheating on his wife, and just fucking, always screaming. And the guy, I think they're called foreman. The guy in charge of his little squad of construction.
Yeah, it'd probably be like the foreman or something.
Yeah, the foreman's there, and the foreman gets in a screaming match with him, and I think I could be misremembering. I think it was because the boss fucked his wife or something.
Oh, Jesus!
Something insane. And yeah, and then there's a huge fight. Fucking whatever. And the boss is storming away, and the guy next to my dad goes, next you're gonna go fuck the dog. And the boss turns around, oh, fuck the dog, that's pretty funny, you're hired. He thought my dad said it, and he gave my dad the job. He promoted my dad because the guy next to him.
That's funny.
But he worked his ass off in construction. He worked out, he was a superintendent,
Oh, wow. So that's what you kind of grew up knowing him doing for a profession was construction.
Yeah.
And I just kind of did some quick mental math. So if your dad and my dad are pretty close to the same age, but my dad was old when he had me, and I'm a few years older than you. So your dad had to have been in his mid 40s when he had you, I'm guessing.
Maybe,
right?
yeah. I mean, me and my brother my half brother, 18 years apart.
Wild.
Yeah, that was my half brother
I met tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my niece is only a couple years younger than me.
Yeah.
I think,
and that was his daughter I met last night. Is that?
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah. She was cool too, man. Yeah,
she's great. She's great.
Yeah, so that's wild. So I mean, so your dad was a little bit older growing up. I mean,
and I'm the oldest, and that was from a different marriage. I'm the oldest from that squad of. Yeah. My dad. Yeah, it was. He must have at least been 40 when he had me.
Yeah.
But my mom's I think 9.5 years younger.
Oh, 9.5 years younger than your dad?
Yeah.
Got you.
So
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm always on the lookout because I have an older brother too. It's kind of a similar situation where my older brother is 14 years older than me, and with my parents it was they had my older brother and then they got super busy with life and running their businesses and stuff that they just kind of were we'll just do the kid thing later. And
Right, right.
They were like closing in on their 40s, and they're like, shit, we gotta, like, we're gonna do this.
Yeah, we weren't paying attention to the clock. Yeah,
Yeah, right. So, so I always kind of have an ear out for similar situation, and it sounds like you had a similar situation there. Well, it's cool, and so your dad converts to Buddhism. He's an artist. Do you feel like there was any elements of construction that he kind of like took pride in artistically, or do you feel like it was just a job?
No, I think it was a job, but he also, he was very devoted to being, he was good at it. He kept getting promoted, with no education in the field. He kept working his way up. He was always good with people. He was always, he can diffuse situations. He's also very honest. He would put up with people's shit.
Sure.
And but also he was, everyone I meet who knew my dad tells me, your dad's a great man, and I'm really appreciative that I have him in my, so it's it's my dad's very I don't know anyone who was familiar with my dad who doesn't immediately start talking about how great he is. And
that was actually kind of leads into another question I had. I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm a big fan of the Mean Boys show, and you guys, you kind of have almost like this lore involving like all of your parents, and and that's sort of the I guess the character that gets projected onto your dad is that he's like a giant rage monster that like, and so I was gonna ask you like I mean, I guess maybe as a chance, maybe not to like ruin the bit on your own show, but like, I mean, do you want to like explain that or like delve into that?
He does have a temper.
Does he?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm used to it. I have a temper too.
Sure.
I don't think you've ever seen it, but
I don't think so.
I mean, when I'm met, people tell me after I calm down, like, I was really scared. I fuck so, and my dad definitely, he's got a temper, but he's never neither of my parents, they've ever hit me or anything, like they or spanked me or anything. They didn't, but he'll get mad and throw things. He just won't throw them at at somebody.
Sure.
I mean, he was a construction worker. He worked, and then he'd, so I mean, he's not, that him mad is not fabricated. I just forget when I hear him yelling at my siblings, I just kind of hang out in my room and go, ooh, it's not at me, and I gotta just hear him flip his shit.
That's so funny.
Because he yells. I also think there's fucking nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
It's probably, and he's probably, I don't know. I think like at the construction site, because my dad's best friend is a contractor,
right?
And I hang out. His name's Lowell, and I hang out with Lowell a lot. And I think when you're on the construction site, there's a direct correlation between how loud you're yelling and how aggressively you're yelling and how quickly things get done. You know what I mean? Like so he's used to like screaming and the thing is done. And like I think maybe it's just a weird like conditioning that he has from that or something. Who knows?
And
but
it's also like I don't think it's a bad. I mean, I don't handle being yelled at super well. But it's different. It's different from him, just because he's my dad. But he I remember one time he gets home and I immediately hear him just screaming in the kitchen, and I go in to ask what do I need to do to make you not have a heart attack because you got a high blood pressure. He doesn't really scream much anymore. I mean, he still does. He still does, but he does it less because of the high blood pressure and all that. And he's in there screaming. I go in, and he goes, "There's fucking orange juice on the fucking floor." And I look over, there's like 2 drops of orange juice on them. There's no... He made it sound like someone dumped a gallon of orange juice. There's fucking orange juice.
Yeah.
And I'm just... It's just... Like, it was hysterical. It was only funny. He didn't think it was funny. There's nothing here. I fucking wiped it down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's funny.
Or even just like, his leg would cramp up at night and he'd get up and he'd try to uncramp it, but all you hear is just fucking just him slamming his leg. He's a strong guy. He's,
was there ever, like, did you ever sense him wrestling with like the Zen nature of Buddhism and like these clear anger management issues that he might be dealing with? Did you ever get into any of that with him?
I think it's just healthy expression.
That's fair.
Yeah, but no. I mean, he chants a lot. Because my mom's his 3rd wife. And I remember he told me after one of his ex-wives left him, he chanted for 24 hours straight.
Whoa.
So it's like, yeah. I don't know what more he could do to be. He's got health issues. He's always kind of, he's always in pain in some way.
Sure. Is he retired now, or is he?
He's retired now.
Yeah.
He had to retire. He had his blood pressure got up in the 200s.
Oh, Jesus.
And so he was just like coughing up blood and stuff.
Oh my God, poor guy.
And so now he's doing better. He got a kidney transplant because the blood pressure damages kidneys. But, he's doing a lot better now. He's a lot healthier now, and
That's great.
there's his friend's company. They used to work together, and his friend gave him the kidney.
Whoa, really?
His friend flew in from Hawaii and gave him the kidney. And
how fucking cool!
But the friend asked, like, would you be willing to, do some advisory work? That way, I know you can't, do it 24, but
Sure.
So he might be doing that.
Oh, gotcha. So just kind of like consulting and
yeah, and also he's trying to start selling his artwork and shit. He's the art. Oh, my phones are there, but yeah, no, he's really good at it. He's sold stuff before.
That's great, man.
And I hope he does keep doing that because. I mean, that's why he's very supportive of the comedy. His dad kind of put his foot down and said, "No, you're not doing this. And if you're doing this, I want nothing to do with it." Yada.
That's cool. So
my dad is like, I mean, he's telling me like, yeah, you might fail, but you could also fail trying to do something else.
Yeah, right. That you fucking hate. Yeah.
Like it's never guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So
has he seen you perform before?
He has. Yeah.
I never do well in front of my parents. I always.
It's hard from my mom. My mom's much more. They're both very liberal. They're both like, my mom's in the Green Party. My dad kind of bounces between that and the Democrats.
Yeah.
Depending on who's and what. But they're very liberal. But my mom's very like verbally conservative and has some very like more conservative, like. Social values. I know people say that. I mean, yeah, my parents are racist. Not at all. More just like my mom. My mom doesn't like swearing and doesn't like
Sure.
But she comes out to shows and she every once in a maybe once a year and is supportive and whatnot. But my dad likes Red Fox and George Carlin and Doug Stanhope. We listen to a lot of Doug Stanhope on car trips.
Yeah.
Bill Burr and all those really filthy comedians. But he also I'll watch a Netflix special and come in for 2-3 minutes, and within 2 or 3 minutes they go, this guy or girl's really good, and, or like when I was watching Ali Wong, he watched like 45 seconds and he's just like, she's great.
Yeah.
There was another comic and he walks in and he just goes, he's not funny. It seems like a kind of guy you'd get in a fight with. And I was like, that's...
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, I always ask for these towards the end of the show. I call them dadicdotes.
Uh-huh.
Do you have like a favorite like memory or and either good or bad. Either way, just a profound like a moment with your dad that really like sticks out from growing up.
I mean, there's several. I mean, I had a lot of health issues. My dad, both my parents, they deserve a lot of credit because I got to witness a lot of parents kind of give up on their kids. And my parents never did that.
Right.
But maybe it was 4 years ago. I had 4.5 years ago. I had a suicide attempt, and it was the first one. I had multiple. It was the first one that became public, and everyone knew, and I was horrified, and and I was in the ICU, and after things calmed down a little bit, I found out that all these people from the comedy scene had contacted my parents asking if they were okay and if I was okay. And they didn't know my parents, which was a huge relief for them because they upon my request kept it secret how fucking, out of control it was. And my dad in the ICU, he told me, he's like, so you're gonna be okay. And it was still when we didn't know whether or not I was gonna be okay. Like you're gonna make it through this. And I was like, sure, And he goes, when you're feeling better, you should keep doing comedy. It was the first time he said that. It was the first time he said that because he saw how upset I got after bombing. And he was worried that it was, because I used to get I still have dents in my walls from punching my walls and throwing chairs and shit from being upset, about bad sets. But he was just like, he said, you should keep doing comedy.
Yeah.
And he also knew I was very afraid that people may be aware now how unstable I am, and I was very afraid. I kept that. I didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And it was a huge chunk of my life, and he got nervous that I was gonna withdraw from the scene because of that. And he goes, "You should keep doing comedy. You should be a comedian." And it was the first time, and it was such a weird context because I was still focused on like, am I gonna die or not? I don't.
And your dad's in there telling you to keep at the comedy. Yeah.
He always, and whenever he does that, he's always right. Like you're gonna be fine.
Right.
You're gonna be okay.
He's already worrying.
He's already worrying about me withdrawing even more from people.
Yeah.
And and that was just a really cool moment where he that's for a whole layer of reasons that moment has to do with why I'm here, and then there's a lot of the other one, the one that always strikes me really hard, is I dealt with all sorts of mental health issues, and there was a point where I was getting ready to fucking kill myself, and I never told him that, but he knew. He always could figure it out.
Sure.
And he, I'm telling him like, yeah, I'm done. I'm giving it up. I went on this giant 20-minute just rant about how I can't keep going in and out of this shit. I can't. My reality's being and just kept going at it. And finally I just stopped talking, and he just goes, "Okay, well, I'm not giving up on you, and I don't think you should give up on you either."
Oh. Wow.
And it just,
Yeah, and it's such a simple statement like that. And when you're in a crisis moment, you know, like to say something like that outside of the context of that situation, you'd be like, oh, what
Yeah.
But like when you're in a severe like state and such a simple and profound statement like that can make the world, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And oh man, yeah, your dad sounds like a fucking cool dude.
My dad's a great guy,
Yeah.
and it's so funny that because he does get angry. I also get angry, you know. But yeah, does he have a temper? Yes. Well, you know, he's been through an incredible amount of shit, and he's you know, he always looks forward, and he you know, he's a very, you know, my dad's the toughest guy I know.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, bar none. And he's the toughest guy I know without being a fucking cold hard prick either.
Yeah,
he's very warm and welcoming to people.
That's awesome, man.
You know, and I guess you could, you know, some people might say he has an anger problem, but he's fucking who doesn't? You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think it's I don't think it's a bad thing to have some. You know what I think is more unhealthy is to swallow that shit all the time.
Well, and it almost seems like it's maybe more like passion based. He seems very like passionate in the things that he pursues. You know,
is.
and it's just I think he's like you were saying, like he's just he seems pretty expressive with his emotions one way or the other. You know, I mean, it's like it's a good thing or it's a bad thing or whatever, but it's all there, and he's not hiding behind anything. So
yeah, no, he's pretty honest, very honest man. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does he also spend time looking up aliens and shit? Yeah, of course. He's in his 60s.
Sure,
you know?
why not, man? He's retired. What else you got going on?
Yeah.
That's funny.
He was reading a book the other day, like aliens and Nazis in Antarctica, and he was trying to fucking. We're talking. There was some theory that the Nazis fled to Antarctica.
Oh yeah, I've heard. I feel like I've never gone past that surface level.
Past that sentence.
Yeah, that sentence is kind of where I drew the line. But that's funny.
But yeah, He's also very, you know, he's a very intelligent person. Both my parents are very intelligent in different ways, and also everyone in my family is a different kind of crazy. We all
different flavors, huh?
Yeah, we're the Incredibles of being a little out there, you know. All different, but still definitely crazy.
That's awesome.
Little ways, yeah.
Tom Goss, tell the folks where to find you on social media.
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at gossgoss6. Why is that my handle? I don't know, but I'm sticking with it. Yeah, and
it's working for you.
Yeah, follow me and
follow the Mean Boys podcast too. You guys are fantastic. I'm gonna be releasing this on Thursday. Is that the same day as your live pod?
Yeah, Thursday, Portland, 10 p.m. The Big Legrowski in Portland. Please come out to that. And then Friday, we're doing a show at Jai Thai. It's either at 8 or 10 p.m. in Seattle.
I'm trying to say, what's the date on that? Is that August 9th? Yeah, that'd be August 9th.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be releasing this the morning of August 9th if you're in the Pacific Northwest.
And I think that's the day after my dad's birthday, funny enough.
Yeah. Go see Tom Goss and the Mean Boys and follow them on social media, and they'll post.
Wait, say the 6th?
Today was the 6th. It turned into the 7th as we were talking.
Fuck, I hope my dad's birthday is the 8th and not the 6th.
Oh yeah, I may have given you guys the wrong date there. No, that's right. Yeah.
Fuck, I'm gonna feel real bad okay. All right. Anyway, this is an off mic discussion. Goss6, Twitter and Instagram. Come out to the Big Legrowski.
Yeah, guys, cool, awesome. Tom Goss, thanks so much, man. You were fucking fantastic.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you, man.
And we're back. Tom Goss, ladies and gentlemen. He's fantastic. A dear friend of mine. I hope you enjoyed him as much as I enjoyed him. And we got a little weird when I tell you. It's what we do. It's what Tom and I do. I adore him. And he's actually going to be, he's going to be up in the Pacific Northwest. So if you're in that area, go check him out. I mentioned last week that another friend of mine, Andreas Tabuada, from way back episode 5? Yeah, I think he was episode 5. Way back, he was up last week and did a whole bunch of filming here on my property for the movie he was making. I got to act a little bit. I was a border patrol guy, U.S. Customs Enforcement guy. Maybe it was ICE. I don't know. I got to play a border patrol agent. I had 2 lines. You guys want to hear the 2 lines? I think I still remember them. I think the first line was, "Hi, where you guys coming from?" And then it was, "Let me have you pull around to the checkpoint for me." How was that? Were you guys threatened? Were you guys nervous? Huh? No? All right, whatever. Did you guys pull your car into a checkpoint if you were listening while you were driving? Did you do that? If you did, please email me at saddadpodcast@gmail.com, because I would like to know that I did that for you, that you pulled over. You were like, "Oh, Dave, your acting is superb. I did the thing you told me to do. I didn't realize you were acting." So anyway, that was fun. That was a circus, man. It was Andreas and, 14 people, actors hanging out at my house for 3 days. It was wild. We did a show at this. We did a show. Me and my friends here in town, my comedians. We did a show at this place called the Longhorn here in Fresno, and that was an experience. It's one of those bar shows that every comedian has done at some point, I think, and it was everything we thought it was going to be. It was, I couldn't get a single punchline out. It was just, the audience was just out of control, stepping on everybody's jokes and material. And it was one of those situations where it was so bad that it circled back around to being fun again. Like, it was just ridiculously bad. But it was fine because I was there with a bunch of my friends, Danny and Alex Lewis, who's a real funny local guy. Heath Reedy. I gotta have some of these guys on the show at some point. I love these guys to death. And what I'm doing right now, I'm secretly buying time to see if I got any more iTunes reviews, which I did not. Tanya Salzer was on that show with me. I gotta have her. She's one of my best friends. Who else was on it? I think it was just the 4 of us. 5 of us. Yeah, Tanya, Alex, Heath, Danny, and myself. I hosted. That was just anyway. So that was, so no new iTunes reviews, guys. And I promise you, if you leave me an iTunes review, I will read it on the air. So do that, if you don't mind, please. I don't want to sound like I'm telling you what to do, I'm not your dad. A sad dad, but I'm not your dad. Your dad's probably pretty cool, right? If he is, tell me about him. Email me at saddadpodcast@gmail.com. I gotta start plugging these things more often. All right, you guys. Well, you've been a ton of fun this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I shamelessly plugging myself. I'm going to be down in LA doing a run of shows in next week of August 12th. So if you're in Southern California and want to come hang out with me, doing some fun shows down there with previous guests, Matt Cole, who's been on the show. I'll take that back. Oh, no. Yeah, just Matt. I'm doing Matt Cole's Room. But now that I'm thinking about the shows that I'm on, I think I did this to you guys last week, too. I'm sorry. I'm just a mess. I'm breathing a lot of forest fire lately. I think it's getting in my head. You guys, thank you so much. Follow me on social media. On Instagram, Dave Apkarian, Apkarian is how you spell that last name. all one word, Dave Apkarian on that's on Twitter and Instagram. You can look me up there. Also find me on Facebook, also Dave Apkarian. Just look for the picture with the mustache. I think I'm the only Dave Apkarian with a mustache. I friend requested all the Dave Apkarians on Facebook. Turns out I am the least interesting one, which was kind of disappointing. The rest of them are like pilots. They're like airline pilots. I'm like, come on. One of them just got an award in like airline pilotry. Being a good airline pilot. And so, yeah, I don't know. But it's neat to be friends with those guys. They seem nice. So I digress. I think I've said bye to you guys several times at this point. So I'm just going to let you go. Guys. Just slip quietly into that sweet abyss that is the rest of your day. Maybe your day's going well. I don't know why I phrased it that way. I love you all. I'll see you next week. I'm kind of going week to week on the guests, so I can't tell you who my guest is going to be next week. I promise it'll be good, though. So, you guys, adios.